Hi everyone, I hope your November is going well. Currently, it is November 11th as I'm recording this. So we've got a portal date here, which, okay, they just said exponentially increases the energies. And we've had a lot of solar activity. We've had a lot of just, the full moon was super powerful. Oh my gosh. And so we're ramping up or accelerating into the end of the year at this point, and I hope you're doing well. I think this is one of the most important things that I've noticed is, we're kind of new, most of us, to having a protocol for spiritual practices or for our energy bodies, our field, right? This is becoming more important than ever. That includes, obviously, it's not separate from taking care of mind body kinds of things, but I'm very, very much getting the strong impact for people who may not be keeping a consistent momentum with their field, like maintaining their field. Okay. And that comes in all different ways, as we know. And I probably don't need to, that's not what this video is about. But as we know, we've talked a lot about the kinds of things that we need to do to take care of our energy bodies. And just real quickly, we've got energy work, we've got meditation, we have working chakras. And again, I always feel like a third party makes a lot of sense, even if you're doing your own work, because it's good to have somebody else take a look at those things on a regular basis. Anyway, there's just a lot of incoming is what I received. There's a lot of incoming. And so we want to strengthen ourselves in that sense and just have that protocol. Don't just do it every now and then or when you feel like it. Try to get that protocol set up, okay? With that, I didn't mean to jump into this topic, but now what I want to do is take you over to Jennifer and myself. So we got together a week or two ago. I've had a few conversations, as you've noticed. I put one out with Amelia and then myself, and now I have Jennifer and myself talking again. So, and then we're going to have one with Ron. I'm a little behind, but we will have one with Ron here hopefully in the next week as well. So I hope you enjoy the conversation that Jennifer and I have today. It's, again, we never know where it's going to go, but we offer it to you for your taking in and understanding and maybe getting a puzzle piece or two for the puzzle of your own journey. So again, what I always say is take what resonates, toss the rest aside. I do hope you enjoy our conversation. And again, I'll wrap up with you in the end. Enjoy. People are like, say to me, don't you get exhausted with these? I go, no, it's actually the opposite. I said,
Yeah,
it brings you into that space, that
yeah.
higher vibration.
It's so interesting that you're talking about this because I'm like exhausted. I've been tired. And when I start talking to you, I feel better.
Yeah,
And
same.
I'm really trying to be very conscious. Like I made the decision to do it and I just try to hold myself there so I don't have to think about it again. But I'm trying to be very good about building my own and coalescing with myself. And so I am utilizing or enjoying the extra energy that's brought to the conversation. And I am what springs up in me, I try to like coalesce it within myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm building it within my own, and I'm really being like present with myself and understanding how, that what I contribute is because I feel good first, like I say, your own oxygen mask first.
Yeah.
Um, because there's strange energies that feel really good,
Mm-hmm.
but then you're exhausted later. And the more I've not looked into it, but just like recognized it, I realized you have the choice of how you want your energy to go,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so if you and I are energize each other, and I'm keeping my energy and building it within myself, you're still energized. And I'm not taking from you, you're not taking
No.
from me. And we both have this really great
We're
opportunity
taking from the
to
field,
energize
basically.
yourself. And
Yeah, we're like within the field. We're in this
yeah, and
field.
you know how certain types of technology work when they flow up against each other, exponential energy. We're kind of the same way. So we have this ability to give ourselves with coalescing and swirling within our own this build of energy.
Mhm.
And I think the more that we do that for ourselves, the more benefit we are to everything,
I think so.
even the one that we're with, right? So it might look like energy hoarding, but it's not. It's the opposite of that.
Right.
It's building your own and staying within it. And then modeling that to everybody you're with so they might learn how to do it for themselves.
Yeah.
And that way you don't have that crash after you've been in a really highly charged energetic situation. You don't have that like, well, where did it all go?
That used to happen to me in my early days. In my early days of channeling, because I wasn't doing this work yet. Oh my God, I would go into the high vibration and I would almost just get a headache because I wasn't used to it, right? And then I would come back down from doing the channeling and I just would be exhausted because I wasn't used to running that energy at all. It was in the very, very beginning. Yeah. But now that's just
having it run away, right? Instead of coalesce with you, coalesce, and build yours. And then you're still in that energetic and you're toning your body to be able to do it without hurting yourself. And then it's not running away when you come out of it.
Well, and I think to your point, I think that goes to, and I try to express this to folks when they talk about it, is this takes practice coming back into our intuitive gifts. I mean, remember, we have to regularly, just like if you're wanting to learn a new sport or something. Right. Most of us aren't going to go out there and be amazing right away. You're going to take weeks, months, sometimes years of practice to get there. I mean,
and your body's really smart when you kind of click into this. Oh yeah, that feels right. That's so intuitively correct. Yes, I remember this. You don't have to think about it so much again.
Right.
Your body just says, oh yeah, and you just do it automatically, right?
Yeah, but what we have to, I think what we have to really be careful of, people going through this journey, is the quick fix kind of thing that we've done in our society where we want everything now and we just, take a pill to get it or whatever. That's not how this works.
No, but what I think is there's so much that we have available to us that is not working. So when I say like, when you remember something intuitively, that feels right. I remember doing this. That's correct. And you just make that yes, and my body does it. And then you don't really think about it again. You're setting yourself up for the next jump, the next hurdle. So then the next thing comes and I can do the same thing. And then I don't necessarily practice it every day, but I'm doing what I know is correct and I just tune to it. So I know when the next thing comes, I'm going to be ready to say, oh, intuitively, I recognize that too. Cool. Check. Oh, there's the next one. Check.
Right. But I think that's more advanced because most people are going to have to get to that stage you're talking about through a series of awarenesses, practices, getting into meditation.
I think you're right. But I've also had the experience where my body kind of got pissed at me for holding back. It's like riding a Arabian race horse and you're putting him in an arena with a bridle and a jockey and all the crap they put on in a little stall and getting him like this, like, we want you to do it this way.
Oh, yeah.
And that Arabian horse is used to running in the desert with no saddle, no reins, nothing, free. And that's how they run, right? Mm-hmm. So sometimes we want to make ourselves do it so much like this. I've had the experience where my body rebelled. So do not put a bridle on me. Do not put a saddle on me. I'm going to do this, and you're going to hang on and remember how.
Yes.
Right? Well,
and I think to your point, you make a good point, and I found this too, is that there's not one way of making this happen. And it's being connected into your physical being, into your knowing, into your inner self. That's key.
And it's so custom to each one of us.
It is.
That if we try too hard to follow of somebody else, we're missing the custom job of ours, right?
Totally.
So there's practices to keep you in line with receiving correctly, and then but not go to the point where you're copying somebody else exactly.
No, but I think to your point,
sweet spot.
What my primary point is if you want to learn to channel, you need to practice channeling.
Yes,
You
yes,
know what I mean? And
yes.
meditating allows you to kind of get into that space. So if you get good at meditation, you're going to get better at being open to receiving information. And then you got to practice receiving. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yes. It's really amazing too how many attributes of yourself that are built into you that are already there and that can talk to you as a superposition. Like
Yeah.
it's yourself, but it's going to talk to you like this.
Right.
Right. And that's a really awesome way to channel because you are familiar with the energy, you trust it, it has your best interest at heart, and it wants to see you succeed in everything that you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's just an attribute of you already. It's already built in, just like your guards, your guardians, your all of those things.
Uh-huh.
That's part of your energetic already that's built in,
Right.
to creation. So if you get like a random persona of something, that comes to talk to you, it feels different than when you're talking to your what you already are, which is huge and so many,
Right.
it's a massive party. You haven't even begun to meet all the guests, right? In your own. So it's to practice channeling, I think it's the attribute of myself,
Yes.
or the attribute of myself that can best assist me in learning how to channel. And
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Totally
It
agree.
comes right from you. You don't have to call something or,
No, it's innate. It's there.
Yes, that's right.
And not to get into this side of it, because that takes us down a big old rabbit hole, but you understand this, is that you also know when it's not your higher good coming through you as well. And, as an example, knowing your resonant energy that's coming through when you're getting information and becoming familiar with that will very easily help you over time understand what is not yours.
Yes.
And so I'll just give you that example. When I had that, I don't know if I told you this, I did it in a video when I had that reptilian energy show up for the first time ever and basically took me over. What happens with me, and I know this now, is my mind it sounds very scary because it can be.
Yes.
It takes my mind over and they're not my thoughts.
Well, what you were saying about having that energy, and I say, I'm telling you, it's nice to do it this way. I say that now after, the whole kind of reason that you and I met.
Right.
Is because I could tell that there was an energy that was coming to communicate with me really intensely that was not compatible with my current body.
Yeah. And see, it's funny because when you first started with me on that, I would never thought in a million years I would be dealing with the same thing because I was just trying to wrap my head around even what you were experiencing.
Yes.
And so what's intriguing is, because you do know, this is the interesting thing, and then I'll let you continue, is your resonant frequency after a while, and then when that comes in and takes over your thoughts, your mind, it's not you. It will change how you feel. You may be totally exhausted, drained, whatever. I think you've noticed that too, right? With the things that you encountered.
Well, I'm kind of a thrill seeker, I guess you would call it, in that form. I'm not fearful of a lot of energies, even the different species and all the different things like that, because I know as far as like how old my soul is, kind of my background, that I have attributes of all of these things, right?
Right. But did you ever have, see, because I think it's a little different in my situation, not to go into this, but because I've already kind of covered this, was someone else's, I'm clearing and transmuting their energy of suicide. So guess who has to go, or land massacres, and I'm there, and guess who experiences in the middle of the night? It's as though I am going to go do that again, or I'm doing it, or I'm there. It's like literally I'm there. That energy's taken over my mind. Now, granted, that circumstance, that happened to you though with your body, right?
Good, yeah, and it wasn't just
my mind.
Intense in the sense that it was coming from a system that does something with consciousness. It's a future system that does a upon death, they try to upload your consciousness, save it for you for a cloned next step, next life. Okay, so they've kind of taken the organic death life out of it, if you can call it organic at all. And they have this, it's all very technological based. And so when I had mine experience and I felt that, it wasn't like just, hey, I've got a friend who had suicidal thoughts. It was like data. It was like it had recorded the suicide, homicidal rage for a collective.
Okay.
And it was then I was feeling like their system of uploading and downloading consciousness as I was experiencing this.
Oh, that's different.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
so
different than me.
A pocket of consciousness came into my awareness, I got it like blasted, almost like it was a forced download.
Oh, that's so different than me, because I'm actually, okay, that makes sense, because I actually would experience what that individual is experiencing, or what the land experience, or what that past experience was with that collective group. I was back there doing it for them.
Yes.
Or, yeah, like the suicide one.
Intense because it's a collective.
Oh, so scary, because you feel like you're going to do it yourself.
Right.
Like there was a part of me, it's the two running through me being there, thank God, and then the running through of the gentleman that I know was wanting to commit suicide, and me having to feel that, but is passing through me so I can clear it for him, right?
Do you think that his suicide was related to the land clearing, maybe his ancestry?
No, it's a totally different scenario. I've had multiple of these over that 2-year period. The massacre was Chaco Canyon.
Yeah.
And that was super trippy and
super intense. Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, I was there. And I think I really was there, because I think something went down. But yes, so it's interesting. I know we kind of switched this conversation to, you know, the channeling and the energetic field, but this is what we're talking about now, is energy that is, how do I want to explain this? Like, not of your, it's not resonant with you. Does that make sense?
Yes. That's a lot of what I was talking about when we were discussing my problem, when I was having really significant problems with my body.
Yeah.
Just being in so much pain. I thought, okay, my body is not in sync with the energy coming to me. Right. I know I have a body that can handle it, or else it wouldn't be coming. But something got in the way, or somebody was attached somewhere, and it wasn't even on this plane or in this time. It would come to find out it was a different time, a different plane of existence completely. But I was still, this body was still picking up on it. So when the energy came through, it was going back to the other one.
Oh, that makes sense.
And the other one was getting hurt, and I was feeling their pain.
Yes. Yes. So that's the similarity between you and me, in that in the past, you know, when I was in Chaco Canyon, I had to go through that horrible, bloody massacre in the middle of the night again. And I was like, what is this? And I immediately knew.
Right. And, you know, and it's not super strange, especially right now. We're, you know, there's always convergences and things going on, but right, this particular time period is really huge for bringing so much stuff together, like organizing it to get to, you know, it's kind of like for a relaunch, or even if there will be a launch, you know, it's a big time for this.
Oh yeah.
So there's huge things moving around and organizing themselves, and everybody's doing different things, and each one is doing multiple things for themselves, and it's different. So it's a lot of moving parts, and it's very complex, right?
What they've shown me, per your point, is they've said all the puzzle pieces are up in the air.
Yeah.
And they're just like in suspended animation.
Yeah.
And then it's like when suspended animation ends, oh, look at me. Anyway, when suspended animation, when that ends, then it's all going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is interesting time too, that, you know, with how we think of and how we experience our life, our experience is how fast time feels, or how slow it feels, or whether we feel like it's standing still, or whether we feel like we move. Like, remember when I told you one time, time is kind of like distance. So when you think about traveling somewhere through a distance, it's really kind of a time concept. Well, you know, when you step out of time into things like their creative fields, uber creative fields, where you're locked into, you know, they're 0 point, there's no movement.
Mhm.
There's almost nothing. And then there's also the infinite field. It's not churning or spinning or growing. We say it's always expanding, but that's only because we're looking at it from linearity. In truth,
Yes.
it already is infinite. It's
It's
not
already
moving at
expanded.
all.
Yes,
It's
totally agree
bigger,
with you. It
right?
already is.
Right. So it's you have a constant that doesn't move, but it's always there, right?
Yeah.
And then we have things that are moving. So you right now having like, no, I sit still, don't run over the top of me kind of thing. And then our even with our solar, kind of our solar, for me, our solar energy is the most chaotic.
Yeah.
Uh,
Agree.
the different solars have been the most disruptive to the smooth process. I think that might not be true, but in my
Oh no,
perspective,
I agree. I think that I think each person is experiencing this influx of energy in their own unique way. And yeah, absolutely.
so it's like I said, there's a lot going on, and when I experience the constant, and when I experience people kind of going crazier, or not really getting their balance right,
Mhm.
and it like hits me as it's moving, that
Mhm.
hurts. I can actually feel pain.
See, that's interesting. You feel it in your
My,
body, which is interesting. With me, it's always been my mind, which, so
um,
your body, yeah, my body is, well, I mean, I have my own stuff, going through the, clearing and whatnot, but no, it's not the body for me. It's the mind, which kind of sucks and is scary. But the body that's just as bad because that's painful. Like
yeah.
you having to go through, that's really interesting. That's different.
Well, like the infinite field, for instance, infinite field, it feels kind of like if I had to like put my body together with the
Yeah.
different element, different things, I'd say the infinite field kind of is comparable to my skin. And the infinite intelligence that runs through, that coordinates everything, that is everywhere, that knows everything that's going on, is more like the central nervous system.
Yes.
Um, so um, when there is disruptions in either two of those on a larger level from anything, I feel in my skin and my central nervous system. So like I can get headaches in my spine. My spine hurts. Your spinal cord is part of your
Oh
central.
yeah. Oh
It's a
yeah.
big
Oh,
part of your
because you
central.
know why that energy's moving up and down through it.
Yeah,
They
and then
always say it's the highway of all. It's the
right
highway.
in the highway you move, right, but in the infinite field stay still. So there is a subtle format of the central nervous system that is not moving, and that's
Mhm.
the one that goes really nicely with the infinite field.
Yeah.
So because there's if there's too much flux or there's parallels that want to do that, nope, just stay there like this.
Mhm.
So then you start feeling. I can start feeling pain in my central nervous system and my skin and my muscle, my fascia.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
it's fascia is like the central nervous system.
Yeah.
It's a network of the body, how the body communicates with all its organs and everything go running through your body. It's a ribbon
Yes.
that runs through. That can be pulling on, being tight,
So
or
let
my
me ask you a question. So, given we got into this part of it, I
yes.
know that I clear for the collective and the land, and I also transmute. When you have all this happen to you, do you know what's going on? Like why it's happening? Why you're having to do this? Like, do
Well,
you
if
understand?
I yeah, because I can focus in and see it. I'll see what's
Okay.
happening in some way.
What's the larger purpose though for you to have to
It's
deal with it?
mostly solar. Okay, so
So
for
you're
instance,
working with the sun, you mean the sun, to what are we?
well, it's before what we consider the sun, because the sun is like our sun. When we look at the sun, the dot that is the sun,
Yeah.
is it's light coming light, and we look at it and we think of it as a ball.
Yeah.
But basically, there's a huge black, dark pleroma behind it, and then there's a massive, huge star that
Okay.
is responsible for what many consider to be their sun in plurality. But it's actually one star with like little, you poke holes in a piece of paper, hold it up, and you've got a bunch of them. Behind that paper is one huge star.
Like this says that's the central sun?
The central sun is just one of the dots, but
Oh.
There's massive, massive stars, and those are the ones that are, they don't really have, they are embodied, because they're part of the cellular structure of them, but they're not necessarily, like, they don't necessarily have big personalities or attitude, or they mostly are just raw energy that does a specific thing and doesn't have an opinion about it one way or the other. Okay.
Yeah.
But then there's the hole. Once you poke the holes, then you start introducing councils and galactic federations, and these kinds of the personality part comes in, and they want to start playing a role with the energy, and that's usually where you start running into kind of things moving around. Because if it was just the pure energy coming in, it's just absolute, it's ineffable. There's nothing to discuss. And I actually like that, thankfully. But it goes through a layering process where the existence part, where we've taken on roles as beings to have experiences, right? That starts to come in, and that's when you start getting a little, disorganization. But so the sun, the star itself, that all of the different plural suns emanate from, is beautiful. It's straightforward. It's like the perfect man, the strong silent type. It's just this very, very reliable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's perfect. And then there's a lot of like dust in the way between that and some of what we're doing now. And as it goes along, the true measure of what will be when it's all said and done at the end of the day is the dust in the way that can bring itself into alignment.
Oh, yeah.
All the agendas and all of the stuff going on there won't matter. It doesn't actually matter, okay? Because that where that's coming from, it doesn't negotiate.
No.
Okay, so it will basically, it's align or die at this point. Okay, so it's not really.
No, it's totally true. No, that is so true.
It just won't. And it's not playing favorites. It's not how you can negotiate with the big dog. It's none of that. It's going to be what it's going to be.
Well,
right?
And I think too, down to the ground level,
yeah.
If you look at everybody's journey, if you really do, they're all being given opportunity to align as individuals through their own personal journey, signs and messages, things like, I don't know, you know how the universe comes in and goes, bam, and you're sick and you're ill and you're whatever, you got all these things going on, because guess what? That's a message of some kind, right? To be able to realign with yourself, right? To realign. I mean, there's a lot of that going on right now.
Yes.
Or the shifting and changing of relationships, or the shift, just all of that. And to be aware enough to be able to go, whether the universe is talking to you. No, if you don't even know that, it's like listening to your inner self and trying to realign with what your true nature is and how you're spoken to.
One of the big kind of issues with a sense that very important, a very valuable and important being, okay, who contributes. One of the issues right now is the the little agendas. They got very competitive with each other, and they started to get over eager, and they wanted to be ahead of the other guy. So some of these councils and stuff, these groups, creator groups, they're building their own thing, kind of. They believe that they're in a group that's building their own thing, collective. And some got too competitive and tried to utilize alternate methods to stay ahead. And they went too far ahead onto the very pure essence of potential.
Okay, can I interject something and tell you what I got, that synchronicity to that?
Yes.
And then I want you to continue. I was in a session at probably less than 2 weeks ago, and this individual likes me to just talk. Whatever I get, just talk. So I just go in and get information. Whatever came out had to do with right now in the times that we're in, and it was the connection to Earth, what's going on here and out there in the federations. And they showed me, and this is so interesting. It feels a little bit like what you're talking about. They showed me that, oh, wait, I got the word hijacking. I got the word like in a board meeting, they were trying to show this to me. Again, they try to show it to me so I can explain it, whether it's literal or not in that way. Board meeting, and like there's a group that comes in and takes over, is trying to take over, and there's a huge disruption within this federation or group right now, is what it's like a takeover attempt, or,
And
and I don't remember the exact
it's
words
been
they used,
ongoing, and the thing that's been ongoing, and
but they were really showing it now, is my
yeah,
point. And so I think it's connected to what you're talking about. I could be wrong, so I wanted
no,
to.
you're absolutely right, and it's this misperception of somebody, the group or entity getting too far ahead of themselves and moving into the potential energy. And what people don't understand, or this being at least didn't understand, but is not willing to give it up now, they moved into a potential. Now, pure potential energy, potential, it's also a being amongst itself. It's sovereign to itself. And that potential energy is basically the beautiful mind of this being seeing something and having a impression of it or an interpretation of what it could be, and seeing it and just giving that kind of opinion almost out to the, now that opinion and that seeing and that idea, it's like a piece of art, right? It's the author's, it's the artist's piece of art. And even if you appear in the picture, it doesn't mean you own the one that looks like you in the picture. That being still has, that's their idea. What you get from pure potential energy is the opportunity for the formula to transform what you have, which is you in your body, into that beautiful thing you see. I love that. I love that idea of me doing that, this, or becoming this, that, or that. I love that. So I'm going to stay in my body and receive the
Yes.
formula that will reconfigure my self, what I already have, that I am, into that. So you're not actually taking anything. You're
No.
just saying, thank you for that beautiful impression of me. I'm going to let my body and my life and my energy transform into that, because you've been nice enough to give me a formula by looking at me and saying, this, I see all your resources and I see what you could be. And you say, I love that. Now the resources are going to change you. That being, you don't touch her. You don't touch her.
Right.
The other being saw themselves and went after her to go get it, like she stole something from her.
Okay, so this
So
is
that's the one who's coming into the Federation thing. I'm in charge now. She's
that's
not.
the align. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, that makes sense. Because what they showed for me, and this is, remember, it's not always a literal interpretation. They show it so I understand what's happening.
Right.
They showed like guerrilla warfare, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
coming in to this board meeting, creating chaos in these,
Yes.
like this Federation board table.
Mm-hmm.
And I have so many chills on this. And it just, everything turned upside down. And that's kind of where the vision ended. And I said, oh my God, that's why we're where we are today, because what's happening there, it's
Yes.
rearranging the chairs kind of idea.
Right.
That's what happened. That's interesting.
But it can't work the way that it is.
No,
Only temporary, and it's just a means to the annihilation of themselves. The ones who
right.
tried to do that shit, because that energy will never lose.
No, it's temporary, is what I'm getting. It's
Yeah,
a
the pure potential energy that is
yep.
will never lose, because you,
No, right.
and it's really just kind of saying, okay, how far do you want to take this? You're
Yes.
basically proving your relevance to all
Yes.
of existence by fighting this way. But that energy will exist whether the others do or not, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it's kind of like, okay, so the solar on in one port is kind of the, not kind of, it is. It's basically the one burning off all the layers of bullshit that went on.
Yes.
Okay. And it's coming in for pure potential and saying, no, they're not touching you. They're not touching you. They're not
Yep.
touching you. They're back, they're back where they could do this if they had stayed where they on point, and done it with the body they were given. right? They could have done it just fine, but no, they jumped ahead on top of you, some kind of crazy tackle, dog pile. And so the sun is burning off the layers of bullshit. Get off of her, get off of
Yes.
her. Okay. So that's kind of that's kind of the scenario going on at very, very big levels. So huge levels, like, our sun is like a dot compared to the big, some of the ones behind it.
Mhm.
So there's some huge solar energy involved, and our sun is basically a star.
Yes.
We know that. So like when they discover stardust in our biology and our
No,
make,
isn't that so cool? I mean,
yeah,
we are the universe. It's just the coolest thing.
yeah, it's very so. There's skin in the game with us at levels that we're not, that the humans aren't even aware of yet, right? Of layers of cosmos and celestial layers that we don't really know about because we haven't, it's not observable to us yet.
Mhm.
So, but they're there. Not necessarily having such an opinion. It's not like the PTA meeting or anything. It's really it's an absolute energy.
Mhm.
And the opinion or the agenda perception is only because it's coming through some layers of dust where we've done these
Yes.
roles and councils and stuff. But it can only be one thing in her. It can only be in integrity. So the only thing really up in the air is how much are we going to lose? How much are we going to keep in the process by how we show up to the sun, to the solar energy, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the source energy that we exist from. That this species of, so it's only going to be what it's going to be. The hard part about it at this level, I think, is looking around and noticing how beautiful things are. The human experience
Yes.
and some of the relationships we can have with each other, how we can expand the potentials. There's some very beautiful things in there amongst the things that are just like full ego, barbarianism, war.
Well, and that's what the sun, this is what I'm getting right now. What is happening with the sun now, I think this is what you were saying. It's breaking through that. It's actually what's causing the chaos. This makes sense. It's like breaking it up into little pieces. And so it feels like there's more chaos, but it's breaking it down. Does that make sense to you? Like,
well, it's like if you want to think about, like in chemistry, we have that table of elements.
Yeah.
You want to think about like,
I just got chills.
What we are is like, where if you just like lay out the cosmic or the larger table of elements, and the sun just comes in and says smash, and they'll
Yes.
reassimilate into the elements.
Okay, I just got to finish what I'm getting. This is so interesting as we're talking because I'll get a lot more information when people have conversation. So it's really intriguing. But they're showing that this solar maximum, this whole time we're in right now, those rays coming in, and I never connected it to this. It's almost like, so the visual they're giving me is like, almost like they're trying to show me like a nuclear blast coming in, and it just hits this force of low vibration energy, which was solid and very in mass, and it's hit it, and now it's breaking apart, which is why we see all the chaos out there because it's all created its own little heads for right now, if that makes sense, like the little pieces that are shards out. Or the 10,000 heads showing up. That's why we're seeing everything go to hell in the handbasket, essentially, because it's being broken down and it's turning into dust. And so that I never got this before because now this makes sense to me why we're seeing what we're seeing, because it's the repeated blasting of like into that dark or energy to blow it apart so that light can come in and dissipate all the things that are going on here that we're seeing in the literal human journey.
Well, it's funny too, because the way that not to make it over dramatic, but it's almost like how do you break something down when you can just come in and like lower the hammer on it?
Yeah.
But in this case, it's almost like a hostage situation. So you have to do it strategically.
Yes.
being done. That's why it's taking more time. Um,
Oh
because
God, this is really powerful, like visualization and hopefully, like to me, it kind of puts, you kind of have the different spirit pieces, but it kind of puts this whole part together with the sun, what's happening here on Earth, literally. Really interesting.
yeah, and when we think of it too, you think of how you cherish your child, maybe, or a friend, or somebody. Like you think you would die if you ever saw them get hurt or if you ever lost them.
Hmm.
And we think of that, that's a very strong mental state for a human. It could almost make them do anything for them, right? It's interesting how the cosmos, the universe, without having a personality ego, still has this attribute about them. It's different, but it's there.
Hmm.
And they still have this feeling of that is so important to me that this next tsunami is going to kick your ass,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
it does have a little bit of, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
There's
but it
a little
happens,
bit of
it's happening with the individuals.
it's different,
Individuals too.
but you see the fierce, there's fierceness in some cosmic events, right? Okay. That's not necessarily not in response to how much they do not appreciate the hostage situation because
Hmm.
they love this other energy.
Hmm.
Okay. They love this being. Um, so it is it's interesting to see it play out. It can be very tension. There can be a lot of tension around it. Um,
You know what I'm seeing though? Okay, I got to go back to this because this is all part of what you're talking about, but I keep saying they keep wanting to show me this. Is I know I spoke to the sun coming in, blasting out the larger collective energy of and creating all this chaos as a result because it all creates 10,000 heads until the light comes in. But what they're showing also is within the collective as individuals, the same thing's happening, getting blasted open. All your parts are like, because think about how the awakening for so many people begins like me, and so
mhm.
many people, it's like an overnight sensation, and you're blasted apart. You're like all
Yes.
of a sudden. So what I'm showing is these pieces, everybody's pieces, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
at certain times through their journey. Now all of a sudden they're having the same thing happen. And now that's why more people are waking up. And it all has to do, I mean, it's this whole collective thing, but the sun is a massive component, like the major component of that. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it's totally makes sense. The funny thing is we've been talking about these several things this throughout this conversation. It's exactly what we were talking about before. And I was saying your attributes of yourself, right? Okay. So you are a being that can balance many, many different nuances of your personality. Um, you are a complex, energetic, emotional
Mhm.
being, presence, right? Now, you think of yourself as one balancing many different mood swings or, different energies, different moods that play at the same time. And you are good at this, right? You can do it. You're very good at it. Now, when you when you see that visual of something hitting and like all these heads appearing, that is a tantamount to you being a being that is a multi dimensional or
Mhm.
having the ability to balance multiple things
Yeah.
in your one being. Okay, Carolyn. So, and then having something get out of order some weird way where all of those attributes that coalesce and you balance want to be their own person. So you hit Carolyn with this. It's because there's a link, the missing link. There's a link that got it's out of order. Basically, it's basically somebody jumped over it and didn't want to go through it because they were sneaking around. So the link is just a missing piece of the connection, but it took something out of order. So when that energy hits you, it'd be like Carolyn's, all of the how I know myself, of my my depth and my complexity that I am as the person that I am, the one person, all of a sudden they all want to have their own personality. So they all want to have their own frequency of each one of those things wants to be its own. And so you have Carolyn now, it feels like there's 200 Carolyns that all want to have one of those things. And you say, no, no, I like them all together, coalescing with each other. Well, as I balance them, and they're saying, no, no, we all want to have our piece. There's 200 here, and there's going to be 200 Carol, 200 of us now in Carolyn wanting to be our
Okay,
own.
let me stop you and add something because I'm getting a nuance on this. They're
Yeah.
giving me right what you're talking about, all of those heads or all those 200s Carolyns, right?
Yeah.
They're showing me, they said that's the Big Bang. Okay, now hold on. When the Big Bang happened, which is it's happening, it's all whatever. Anyway, all the heads showed, all the potential showed up. And then the journey now, think about where we're at, is all of that collapsing back into the oneness.
Yes.
And that's what, okay, I know this, does this make any sense to you? Because it's all that can possibly be, but then coalescing back in, it's like
Yes.
kind of thing, back
And
into the 0 point
yes.
oneness.
And it's balancing that.
And it's
A
happening in
couple of,
each of us. It's
it is,
happening in each of us as we recollect our parts. Like all
right.
our heads show up, all our like parts of
That's
us.
the
We're
thing
like,
though, Carolyn, even
yeah,
after the creation event that created Carolyn as a very complex person, you didn't have multiples so much as you had
yeah,
balancing complex balance. So the multiples, like the separation multiples, is not necessarily necessary because you are good at having an experience with a lot of stuff, the complexity. You can do that particular thing very, very well as your being, right? As your one being. So separating, it was almost too much separation went on, too many, like the population explosion, too many things wanting to go into separation when you as a being that can handle a very complex thing can have that experience for so much, it didn't need to necessarily be in so many little pieces. So I think that was one of the little glitches out of order. And then the other thing is when we do that and come back in, which is great, it's like bringing things back in. It's no problem. It happens all the time. It happens with a particular state of energy that moves. And we talked about those other states of energy that don't move, which are
right.
constant. So that one that moves doesn't want to grab the skin that stays constant and try to pull it back in with it, or else it's grabbing something that doesn't get wrinkled up.
Right. But it's so interesting because
That's what I feel sometimes. I feel like somebody's just grabbed onto a handful of my flesh and is just holding on to my
yeah,
flesh.
but all this, you have to set time aside, the whole idea of time, like, oh, the Big Bang happened
Yeah,
300,000 million years ago or whatever. You got to set this aside. When I say we're actually, this is the big message I'm getting out of this. We are actually experiencing the Big Bang right now in all of its because we can't see the past because the past is happening now and the future is happening now.
yeah,
It's all one, but everything's and I
right.
brought this through in a channeled message before where everything's happening all at once right now.
It
Well, the
is.
Big Bang is the everything, and
Yeah,
then what we're on the journey of right now, which looks like a time linear kind of thing, is the collapsing back into the oneness. When in reality, oh, this is going to sound weird, it's all like and you're back into the oneness, and it happens almost instantaneously, even though for us right now it feels like a time linear, eons, ages, years,
distance.
centuries,
Yeah,
kind of thing,
right.
millennia. And
Because distance, you imagine a blast would create distance,
yeah,
and distance feels like time, even
right.
happen like that.
All our
So,
experiences that we're having now and in all our past lives are all part of that Big Bang expression. And the Big Bang of this, I mean, somebody's going to say, oh, well, you don't know your science. Well, all I'm getting here is that the Big Bang is not understood in the way that it was really
is not.
meant to be. It
Mm,
is the expression of all that can possibly be. And so that's why it expands. They think it's expanding out when in reality it's all here. But now our journey is to this. Think about the oneness. Think about just literally us realizing we have other civilizations out in the cosmos,
Yeah.
oneness, right? Them potentially eventually appearing, oneness. Us
Yeah.
finding ourselves in all our parts, oneness. And so this is
Right.
all, we're all collapsing back into this journey to love, to one.
Balance. It's all
And
about.
we're actually experiencing that right now in
Yes.
what we see as a material world.
Yes, and that's why you can look around in your life around you and see who's in my life, what's going on with me, what is showing up for me. What is my relationships with my friends and my family? How do I feel about myself? What is anything you can look around and it gives you huge clues about how the balance back to oneness is going because it will manifest onto the earth plane.
Yes, and here's the thing. It all, no wonder this is such an individual journey because
Mhm.
as part of that, and I keep going big bang like this, we're all these little individual particles having our own experience, but then at the same time, then, we are having those experiences, bringing those back into the oneness of who we are individually, which then rolls up into the collective.
Right. And I think at this point too, the ones that are in body like you're doing more than just one particle. You're doing a lot of it. So it's almost like you're bringing
Yeah,
how many cells are in your body?
yeah.
There's billions, right?
We
So
only see what we see here as Carolyn because we're only consciously aware, right? Or of Jennifer, right? Consciously
so
aware of that.
well, yeah, but you as Carolyn, you're actually balancing uh, a lot. So
Right.
it went down. The it went down into much smaller um, you
Oh,
know,
I see what you're saying.
sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you say I'm balancing, I'm having an experience, there's a lot of them. If you look at it kind of like all my cells are having an experience too.
Yeah.
So as I balance into oneness, I'm balancing my cells. I'm balancing how my microbiology is in relationship to my macrobiology, right? And so how they function, how they're receive information, how they to function properly. It goes in a certain order from, this informs that and that informs this to the cellular level. And so I'm balancing that. My body is in balance and that's getting the messaging is going correct through my body to all of my cells. Okay. Through all of my biology. My biology is in the right order. My physiology is optimized. And you are doing like a massive balancing of experiences, and it may not be you look at you're a human with cells on this plane,
Mhm.
but there are entities, beings, large and small, in this infinite landscape that are part of those individual particles. So as you balance, there's massive stuff going on.
Right.
So
Oh, it's just so, I've never had this is such an interesting conversation and what it actually led to.
I would love to. It's a hard concept to explain, but I would love to see the human collective really, really focus, or not focus, but prioritize the relationship with pure potential energy
Yeah.
to be relative. So, relativity meaning that the relationship to it, no matter what the situation may turn into, look like, if it's chaotic or not perfect, a circus, or, it doesn't matter how it is organized or shown up in some way, always be in perfect relationship to it, no matter what the situation is.
Okay, that's the conversation for today. I hope you have enjoyed the conversation between Jennifer and myself. Her information is indicated in the description box as well as mine, purplerainhealing.com, where you can check out all of my services if you're looking to work with me and get some assistance on your journey. Again, thank you so much for joining us in this video. I will see you in the next one.